being waged for the mind of the modern man, and most don't even realize they're losing. It's not a war lost on a battlefield, but in a series of small, invisible concessions, tiny compromises made in the name of peace or affection that slowly drain a man of his power, his edge, and his masculine core. These are the 7 harmless mistakes that can systematically turn a king into a peasant in his own life. Each one seems logical at the time, but together they create a prison of mediocrity. And the final mistake is a betrayal so deep it shatters the very foundation of male honor. First, we must talk about the poisoned compass. Every man is born with an internal compass. It's his ambition, his vision, his unshakable knowledge of his own true north. This compass is what drives him to build, to conquer, and to create a life of meaning. But this compass can be poisoned. This happens when a man outsources his life's direction. He starts asking for permission instead of forgiveness. He seeks approval for major life decisions from a woman whose primary instinct is often security, not risk. Her advice, while sometimes well-intentioned, is filtered through a lens of emotion and a desire for comfort, and comfort is the enemy of greatness. Think about it. The man has a brilliant, high-risk business idea. He feels it in his gut. It could change everything, but he runs it by her, and she sees only the danger, the instability, the possibility of failure. She advises caution. She suggests the safer path, the stable job, the predictable income. Slowly, through a death by 1,000 of these concessions, his compass begins to spin. His ambitions get smaller. His dreams become more manageable. He trades his sword for a security blanket. This isn't about ignoring a partner or being a tyrant. It's about understanding a fundamental law of nature. You cannot let the passenger grab the steering wheel. A man who doesn't trust his own direction will eventually have no direction at all. He becomes a ship without a rudder, adrift in a sea of her anxieties and his own forgotten potential. He hands over the final say on his life's mission, and in doing so, he hands over the respect she had for the man who once knew his own way. This leads directly to the second mistake, the attention trap. Male attention is a currency. In fact, it's one of the most powerful currencies in the modern world, and a woman will often act as though she is desperate for it. She'll ask for more of your time, more of your focus, more of your energy. She'll make you feel guilty for being busy, for working on your purpose, and many men, wanting to make her happy, will give it to her, all of it. They'll text back instantly. They'll cancel plans with friends. They'll stop their work the moment she calls. They flood her with the very currency she claims to want. But here's the paradox they don't understand. An oversupply of any currency causes its value to plummet. The man who is always available is never valued. The man who gives all his attention leaves no room for mystery, no room for desire. He becomes predictable, mundane, boring. He destroys the fantasy. A woman, contrary to what she might say, doesn't want all of you. She wants to wonder about you. She wants to be sitting at home, thinking about what you're doing, who you're with, what great things you're building. She wants to miss you. That feeling of missing you, that space, is where attraction grows. It's where she replays your best moments in her mind and fantasizes about your next encounter. When you give her all your attention, you cut that fantasy short. You become a television that's always on, just background noise. The most seductive men in history understood this. They knew how to create scarcity. They gave their attention like a reward, not like a handout. They understood that their focus was their power, and it was best spent building an empire. The woman was welcome to visit that empire, but she could never, ever own it. But attention isn't the only thing you should never surrender completely. The third mistake is even more devastating. It is the purpose killer. A man's purpose is his sacred duty. It is his mission in this world. It could be his business, his art, his career, or his craft. It is the fire that gets him out of bed in the morning and keeps him up late at night. It is his life force. And make no mistake, a woman will test his devotion to it. This is one of the most crucial and misunderstood tests in the game of attraction. She will complain that you're working too hard, that you're obsessed. She'll say she just wants to cuddle on the couch while your ambition is calling to you from the other room. She will dangle comfort and pleasure in front of you to see if you will abandon your post. This is the ultimate trap. The moment a man chooses a woman's temporary comfort over his long-term mission, she may feel happy for a night, but her respect for him begins to die a slow death, because subconsciously she knows she has just defeated him. She has proven that her desires are more powerful than his own internal fire. She now knows that he can be pulled off his path, and if he can be pulled off his path by her, he can be pulled off his path by anything. He is no longer the rock she was drawn to. He has become shifting sand. The irony is brutal. A woman will ask you to soften and then resent you for being soft. She will tell you to relax and then grow bored with the man who has nothing to strive for. She will test you to see if you'll get off your purpose. And if you do, she will eventually leave you for a man who is still on his. A man on his purpose is magnetic. He is a force of nature. His focus is his power. A woman can be the most important person in his life, but she can never be more important than the mission itself. The mission is what makes him the man she fell for in the first place. Abandoning it is a form of spiritual suicide. This brings us to the fourth mistake, allowing the chains of control to replace the bonds of respect. There is a powerful saying that every man needs to burn into his mind. Women break rules for alphas, and they make rules for betas. When a woman is intensely attracted to a man, she will do anything to be in his world. She will adapt to his schedule. She will accept his boundaries. She will break her own rules to please him. But when her respect for a man begins to fade, she will start to make rules for him. It starts subtly. You have to call me when you get home. I don't want you going out with that friend anymore. You need to show me your phone. Each rule is a link in a chain, and many men, fearing conflict or loss, will accept the first link. They'll call her when they get home, thinking it's a small price to pay for peace. But they don't realize they've just validated her authority over him. They've taught her that he can be controlled. This is not a negotiation, it's a covert power grab. The story of the man who was forced to FaceTime his girlfriend every morning and every night to prove he wasn't cheating is a perfect example. He thought he was showing loyalty. He thought he was saving the relationship. What he was actually doing was showing her that he was a dog who would perform tricks on command. He was communicating weakness. He was telling her, "Your insecurity is more powerful than my freedom." The respect she had for him evaporated. It wasn't the fact that he was loyal that mattered. It was the fact that she made him prove it. He became her subject, not her partner. If a woman ever gives you an ultimatum or a set of rules, you have a choice. You can accept the chains and become her pet, or you can stand your ground and remain a king. Even if it means walking away, your self-respect remains intact. And self-respect is infinitely more attractive than desperate obedience. This next mistake, however, doesn't just cost you respect. It can cost you your entire legacy. We have now arrived at the fifth and one of the most controversial mistakes, the legacy trap. This is the unspoken risk of raising another man's bloodline. Let's be clear. This is not an attack on single mothers or their children. It is a cold, hard, strategic analysis for a man who is serious about building his own dynasty. A man's legacy, his name, his resources, and his genetic future are his sacred inheritance to pass down. When a man knowingly steps into the role of a stepdaddy, he is willingly taking on a set of problems that are not his own. He is inheriting the consequences of another man's decisions and another woman's choices. Think of your life like a business. Your goal is to increase revenue, minimize liability, and ensure the long-term health of the company. Would a savvy CEO merge his thriving business with a struggling company that is already in massive debt and has pre-existing commitments that will drain his resources? Of course not. It would be corporate malpractice. Yet men are expected to do this in their personal lives and call it noble. They are told they are stepping up, but what they are often stepping into is a situation filled with unavoidable complexity. The biological father who will always be a factor, the child who will never be his own blood, the resources, time, money, and emotional energy that are diverted from building his own future to servicing a pre-existing family unit. There is no benefit to his bloodline. There is no continuation of his legacy. It is a biological dead end. He becomes a resource provider for another man's genetic future. Again, this is not about emotion. The woman may be wonderful, the children may be lovely, but for a top-tier man making strategic decisions, he must ask himself, does this choice move my life's mission forward? Does this build my kingdom, or does it merely make me a manager in someone else's? A man's primary biological imperative is to create and provide for his own. Voluntarily forfeiting that role is a profound and often irreversible mistake. This leads to the sixth mistake, a trap of the modern dating world: one-sided sexual disarmament. In any fair negotiation, the terms are reciprocal. Both sides give up something to gain something. Yet in the unspoken marketplace of modern dating, men are often expected to engage in a foolish, one-sided disarmament. A man gets with a woman he really likes. She tells him to delete his old contacts, to unfollow other women on social media, to cut off his female friends. She demands total exclusivity and a complete removal of any other options. And the man, eager to please and prove his loyalty, often complies. He wipes his slate clean. He willingly gives up all of his sexual options. But he never stops to ask a crucial question: has she done the same? While he is deleting numbers, her phone often remains a vibrant ecosystem of past flings, potential suitors, and orbiting male friends who are just waiting for their chance. Her Instagram DMs are still open for business. She has maintained all of her backup plans, her safety nets, while demanding that he burn all of his. This is not a relationship, it's a strategic blunder. The man has willingly walked into a deal where he has all the liability and she holds all the options. He has become a simp, not because he is committed, but because he is a fool who accepted unfair terms. A man who lives a life of abundance can, and often should, choose to be faithful, but that choice must be met with equal commitment. True exclusivity is a two-way street. He should never give up his options for a woman who is not willing to unequivocally and demonstrably give up hers, until she has made her social media private, until she has removed every last trace of the men from her past, until she has proven with actions, not just words, that she is all in. He would be an absolute fool to do it first. It's not about promoting cheating. It's about demanding reciprocity. It's about refusing to be the only one in the negotiation who disarms himself. But even this level of foolishness pales in comparison to the final unforgivable sin a man can commit. We now come to the seventh and final mistake, the final betrayal: breaking the brotherhood code. This goes beyond dating strategy. This touches upon the sacred. The bond between true brothers, loyal friends, is an ancient and powerful force. It is a bond forged in shared experience, trust, and unwavering loyalty. It is the bedrock of a man's support system, and it should never, ever be broken for a woman. Yet we see it happen. Two men, friends for years, allow a woman to come between them. One man's ex-girlfriend becomes the other man's new hookup. A man sees his friend being disrespected by a woman and says nothing for fear of creating drama. Or worse, he actively takes her side against his own brother. This is the ultimate betrayal. A woman's presence in your life can be temporary. Her feelings can change like the weather. She might leave you because she's not happy, but the loyalty of a true brother is supposed to be absolute. A man who betrays his brother for a woman has committed a cardinal sin. He signals to the world that his honor is cheap. He shows the woman that his loyalties are flexible, and if he can betray his closest friend, he can certainly betray her one day. He loses respect from everyone. His friends no longer trust him. The woman, even if she won, now knows she is with a man who has no code. He has broken the sacred circle of the brotherhood, and in doing so, he has isolated himself. He stands for nothing. Your brothers are the men who will be there when the relationship ends. They are the ones who will help you rebuild. To sacrifice that unbreakable bond for a temporary infatuation is not just a mistake. It is an act of profound weakness and dishonor from which a man's reputation may never truly recover. So there they are, the 7 harmless mistakes that secretly dismantle a man's power, from handing over his internal compass to becoming a willing servant through the chains of control, from killing his own purpose to betraying the sacred code of his brothers. None of these are grand dramatic events. They are a slow erosion, a series of quiet surrenders that lead to a life of quiet desperation. These aren't rules designed to make you cold or cruel. They are the unspoken laws of power and attraction. They are about building a foundation of self-respect so solid that no one can ever shake it. The only question left is, are you consciously building your life, or are you